Hello and welcome to our tutorial sessions. In this session, we're going to be going over the all-in-one SEO pack plugin for WordPress. Now, it is one of the two most popular plugins for SEO on WordPress, along with Yoast. And most people are probably using one or the other. So I thought it would be good to go over this plugin. And there's a lot of different settings going on here. Most of them are pretty straightforward. But you definitely want to make sure you get it set up right to begin with, because it can cause a lot of problems with your website on search engines, greatly affect your rankings, or if you're even ranked at all for some things for that matter. So you definitely want to make sure it's set up right to begin with. So I'm going to go through all the settings here, how it works, and then you'll be able to see how it'll benefit you. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, when you install the all-in-one SEO plugin, it's going to be over here in your dashboard. So what you want to do is you just want to click on General Settings. And I'll go through all these general settings with you and what they do and how you should have them set up to the best settings for your website. So okay, first of all, if you hover over all these question marks here, it's going to give you a little snippet of what it does. And you can even click here if you need to read more and are unfamiliar about what it's going to do. But I'm going to go ahead and walk you through all the settings, what they do, and how they'll benefit you. The first one here for canonical URLs, you definitely want to have this checked, because what this does is it'll stop your website from having duplicate content errors. Now, this is something that gets you flagged on the search engines. You definitely want to avoid having a lot of duplicate content across your website. So having this checked will prevent the duplicate content across your site. And this one here, no pagination, leave this unchecked. What this will do if you check it is if there's multiple pages, page 1, page 2, page 3, it'll take that pagination off of the URL for you. But for most times, you could just leave that unchecked. And this third one here, use original title. Most of the time, you'd want to leave that disabled. Now, what that would do, if you would go ahead and enable it, it would use the title that's in your settings general, the general title for your WordPress site. But what we're going to do actually further on down here is use the macros, the site-wide macros, to format all of the tags for the site. So, okay, and these two you could probably just leave unchecked most of the time. If you wanted to log events that happen on your page, you can check that to get logs. And also this one here is to allow the plugin developers to track your usage. So just leave those unchecked most of the time. All right, and if you're using a static front page, then you want to have this enabled. And then down here, this is what's going to set up your site-wide tags. So this is really important, but it does it all for you. And this is the default setup right here, and it's pretty good. And you could see if you wanted to change any of these right here, you could just hover over this question mark and it'll give you all the different codes to put in right here. So you could change it to what you want. Now, we can change each page and post individually. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute, but this changes everything on a site-wide basis. So you'll see for pages and posts are probably the most important here. You're going to have the title of each page and post and the site title here separated by your divider or whatever you wanted to put uses your divider. And moving on, this is what I was actually just talking about. You could edit the content per post and per page. Now, you would want to have these checked if you want to do that for posts and pages. And then when you go into the individual page, you're going to notice if you scroll down, you'll see that it's available to edit right here. And this edit is going to actually only affect this page. So if you'll notice, the default that we made on the macro is going to show up here. It's just going to be your page name and the site name. But if you wanted to change this here, you'll see that as I'm typing, this is changing over here. So you could change that to whatever you want. It'll change just this page, but your macros will stay for the rest of the site. But let's just leave that the way it is for now. But there, you can change it in there if you want. And this here, I like to keep this checked. Some people do not. What this does is right in here, when the list of all your pages, you'll easily be able to edit if you click this pencil here. You can edit each description and title tag right here without having to go into each page. So I find it convenient if you ever want to change any of that, you could do it right there. That's up to you whether you want to do that. You could go into each page post individually, but I think it's pretty convenient to keep those checked. Moving on, Webmaster Verification. Now, All-in-One SEO Pack gives you the opportunity to put your verification numbers for your Search Console, all your webmaster tools in here. Now, I actually don't do that. There's many ways to verify your Search Console through Tag Manager. Most people will be able to do, or through your DNS, wherever your DNS is located at. But the option is here, just so you know if you want to use that. Also, same with Google Analytics. I mean, most people are probably using Tag Manager, but if you want, you can put your UA number in here, and you'll be able to add your Google Analytics there too. And the next block here is for your schema settings. You definitely want to have this enabled so you could use the schema markup on your site. It has a lot of different functions. I'll go over a lot of these right now. You want to have this checked for the site links. Now, what this is going to do, actually, it's not going to tell Google to put your site links when it shows your search engine result. It doesn't actually tell them to do that. What it does, it says that you want them, they're available if they want to do that. Google is actually going to pick and choose when it thinks it's relevant or helpful to the user to show a website site links. It's not always going to do that, but checking this box right here makes it available for them to do so. So you definitely want to have that checked. And all of your social profile links you want to put in here, so they're available in your in the schema markup. So skip a line between each, put all of your social links on there. If you're a business, most likely if you're listening to this, you're an organization, you could put your organization name. Now the logo, put a logo for your business. You could just upload from your media images, phone number, type of contact, pretty self-explanatory. So definitely fill out your schema markup and put all your social pages in there. It'll help you solidify everything on your search engine results. Now here's your no index settings, okay? This is fairly important too. This is going to tell Google what to put in its index. You don't really want to have your templates, your media attachments, all these things. You just most of the time want your pages and posts to be indexed on the search engine. So you could go ahead and check all of these so it does not index all the other ones. And same with no follow for the most part. What this does is shows whether the links that are on those pages are going to be follow or no follow. So you're going to want follow probably on your pages and posts, but you could just go ahead and check all of these other ones to no follow all of those. Now, I uncheck this right here to no index categories. I want my categories to be indexed. So if you'd like all your categories for all your different posts to be indexed, if you are using a archive pages for all of those, then you should definitely leave that unchecked. Same thing for the tag archives also. But most of these other date, author, you could just check these to no index all of those pages. There's really not a need to index those. And yeah, you really can leave all the rest of these unchecked for the most part. RSS Content Settings. This is, let's see here. This is going to automatically add content for each post to your site's RSS. Oh, yeah. So what this is going to do is actually when you go ahead and post your content, it's going to attribute that content to you, and you can use those same macros there that are supported. So you can have that say to whatever you want. You could change that after your content, or if you want it before your content, that's where you would want to put that information when you're sharing your feed. So that is there. Now, here in the advanced settings, auto-generate descriptions. This is going to automatically generate the descriptions on your post based on the excerpt of the content. So most of the time you could check this box, and then if you want to override that on each post, you could go in like we did before in here on the description and change the description that way. But this will actually, having this checked, where did it go? Yeah. Okay. Having this checked will use the excerpt of your posts automatically for that description. And this section here will use, if you check this, it'll use your content instead of the excerpt actually for your meta descriptions. The rest of these you can usually leave unchecked, except for down here. What this will do is you're going to want probably on all the attachments and everything. You don't actually usually most of the time want people to go to those pages. You're going to want to send them to the parent page where that content is attached to. So this will actually redirect all of your visitors from where the attachment's located at to the page where the parent page where the content is. So if you check that it'll force those redirects, which helps with ranking because you won't have so much thin content on the attachment pages. And you can list any pages that you want to exclude right here and just separate those with a comma. Now down here, I don't even know, honestly, why they still have this in here. None of the search engines nowadays use meta keywords. That hasn't been done in years. You're going to want to disable this. Meta keywords were used back in the day with search engines to rank sites. And it's one of the reasons actually why Google became so popular, because they stopped using that and were using other factors like links and things like this. But many years ago, they used to use the meta keywords in order to rank websites, but hasn't been done in a very long time. Keep this disabled. Okay, and then once you click to update your options, that'll save. So we're done with the general settings, but now what you're going to want to do is you'll see the link here for Feature Manager. And when you go in your Feature Manager, there's a bunch of free features that you're going to want to activate. And when you do activate all of them, they're going to show up over here on the left. And I'm going to go through all of these and show you how they work and how to set them up. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Performance here. And in the Performance, you're going to see that you could change some settings for your memory limit and the execution time. Now, execution time, just usually leave at default unless you're running some crazy scripts that you're going to need to change this. And memory limit, I don't really find that too helpful. You could, if you need to change that, you could also change it in your file manager. If you could see right here, I have mine set to 512, but this only allows you to go up to 256. So just so you know, it is here. But this is really important. Let's go into XML sitemap. Now, this is what you are going to basically send to Google and show them which pages they should index and give them the organization of your website. So this is really important. You want to make sure you get it set up right. and so you can get indexed correctly on the search engines. So if you go ahead down here now, what you're going to want to do is, if you check this to enable sitemap indices, I guess is the right word. Indices, right? Enable sitemap indices. If you click this, what you're going to do is it actually creates like a sitemap of sitemaps. So this is like a tree almost for your site. It's going to have either your pages, posts, categories, whatever you put down here, you're going to have a sitemap for posts, pages, categories, tags. So there'll be a different sitemap you'll see it creates for each of these. So check that box right there. This you could keep at 1,000 most of the time. Sites aren't going to have more than 1,000 posts. You should be all right there unless you have a very large website. I don't think that most of the time you need to include images, author pages, date archive pages in there. No. But here, dynamically generate sitemap. Yeah, definitely have this checked. This is going to keep updating and dynamically create your sitemap when new things happen instead of using a static file for you. So go ahead, check that there. You can create an RSS sitemap if you want. This isn't really going to affect too much, but if you want, you can go ahead and check that there. And in here, if you have any other HTML pages that aren't involved with your WordPress, you can go ahead and add. Priority and frequency aren't really, I don't think, used too much by the sitemaps, so you can leave that the way it is. Just go and add if you need to add any URLs. Here's where you can exclude pages and terms. Most of the time, I don't think you would really need to put anything in there, but if you do, it's there. Leave these the way they are. And you can update your sitemap. Boom. So that is your sitemap. Another really important one nowadays is the social meta. So this is how things are going to show up when you post to your social media. Now, first of all, you're going to want to put in your site name, site title, description, and an image for you for your home image. So keep that in there. And this right here, yeah, don't use that unless you want to use the your title and description from your general settings like we went over before down here in the settings. So unless you want to do that, don't have this checked. And this is going to be originally on default. I recommend changing this to featured image. What this is going to do is when you post your post to social media, it's going to use that featured image on each post. So whatever featured image you have on there is actually what it's going to post to the social sites. But if there is no featured image, then it's going to default back to your default. So I have my logo in here. But if you have a image you want to feature for that post, it'll be on there. If it can't find one, it'll resort to your default. You could change the width and height in here and customize that. Now, your Facebook settings, it says to put your admin ID in here, but I mean, I don't have any problems when I post to Facebook. A lot of other people say they don't either, but it is here to add your admin ID. And here you can see if you want to generate article tags, category tags. See how I have the keywords? Took that off again because we're not using the keyword meta, but leave all these other ones checked. And enable Facebook meta for your posts and pages. Now down here is your Twitter settings. And here you could either change it to a summary and a summary plus large image, depending on what you want. Make sure in here that you put your handle and not, it says Twitter site. Make sure you put your handle for Twitter. And here, just put your domain minus the HTTPS, just the domain.com. So you could put that in there. And we're good to go. Update options. And we are almost done. This is the home stretch here, guys. So I know there's a lot of options, but we're getting to the end of it here. Now here's your robots. This is what it's going to tell the search engines to allow to crawl. So if you wanted to crawl your website, just keep this the way it is, or you could add any rules that you want to add here. But for the most part, if you want it to crawl your site, just keep that the way it is. File editor. Oh, this is just your htaccess file. There it is. You could do this in your file manager through FTP, but here, if you want to edit that, there it is. Not too much to that. Importer and exporter. Now, this is huge if you have multiple sites that you're running and you want to keep your settings. So we just went through this whole half an hour lesson. If you don't feel like setting it up over and over and over again, if you run multiple sites, you can export your settings, boom, and import them again on your new site. So there's import and export. Bad bot blocker, last but not least, is you could check these off if you want to try to block any malicious, known bad traffic bots spamming your site. So there you go. So most of the stuff, as you can see, was in general settings, and XML sitemap is super important. And that is all-in-one SEO plugins. So if you do have any questions, you can go to my website and give us a and that was all-in-one SEO plugin. So I'm going to put the contact information in the so that is all-in-one SEO plugin. If you do have any questions, you can ask them down in the comments, or feel free to contact us for more information. And thanks for watching.